Okay. Self-defense, it's a video blog, right? Okay. So we had a question, right, written to us by our friend Adam. We put out a, hey, ask us questions, right? And Adam from Tiger's Jaw asked us, how do you feel about the word whore? You know, and what he meant by that, I think, is how do you feel about words that are clearly uncouth, you know, clearly off color, meant to hurt, or maybe not. Maybe they're just so much part of somebody's vernacular that it, you know,
it's just it's like water,
right? Because this is a question of this is something we always talk about is the nature of being offended and what that means, what it says about you, right? So it's a good question from Adam, and we're going to give it its own segment. And we're going to talk about being offended both by specific words, ideas, and the notion that those things are worth exploring. You know what I mean? Because people are offended by all three of those.
Yeah.
There's people that are offended.
Somebody's already offended.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane.
Yeah. Well, let's start with that. Disclaimer. Everything offends someone. With that in mind, you cannot go out of your way to please the specific, particular weirdos in this life. You can't do it. You'll break your own back doing it. So, while it shouldn't be your goal to offend, you know what I mean? Because that's just corny. It's a tacky look. It also, you can't be living for some other dude that isn't paying you, sleeping with you. You know what I mean? What's he doing for you? So it's difficult to take him into consideration. Yeah. So if you're the person that's offended by the notion of exploring the idea of offense, now just hit stop.
Now it's time to watch, what's her name, Rebecca Black.
Yeah, the Rebecca Black video on YouTube, not us. Okay, with the rest of you still here, let's talk about being offended. Racial slurs, they offend you?
No.
Okay, derogatory language towards genders, gender-based bias.
Don't care.
Okay.
I'll stop you right here. I don't care.
Okay.
There's so little you can say to offend me that it's actually like an alien feeling to me.
That's how I feel. I always say, retard. I don't like retard. I don't like the way it sounds. I don't like what it says about the person saying it because it sounds ignorant as shit. Because, really, if you haven't been around a retarded person, it's kind of like, it's just a rude fucking thing to say. Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm sure that when other people hear racial slurs or when people hear sexual orientation-based bias, that's how it sounds to them. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I don't have those triggers per se. That's what I want you to realize, actually. I'm not offended by anything. I don't have specific triggers for the things that you want maybe me to have specific triggers for.
Feel like you have to have. Yeah.
I don't have those. It's not my life experience. It doesn't mean I think they're cool to say. It doesn't mean I think that everybody should go around saying them. I just need you to understand that I cannot share in your outrage. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't have it. And I don't understand why you think it's better for me to fake that. You know what I mean? I don't think it is. I think it's better for me to be an honest person and just say, yeah, I don't necessarily use that language myself, but I don't care if an adult in the United States of America wants to talk the way he wants to talk.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
I really feel like if somebody feels like you should fake being offended, maybe you're faking being offended a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's opening up a little more about you than you'd like to express to people.
Right. And here's the other thing is, you're not advocating for harsh language that hurts, right?
I don't care on either end of the spectrum.
Yeah, I'm not advocating for it at all. That said, when I read things like, yeah, I was a big fan of this band until they said X, Y, or Z. You sound crazy. Yeah. You sound really crazy to me. And don't get me wrong, I had that attitude when I was 15. So I get it.
Yeah, when you're 15, I feel like you're going to change the world.
It's your job to be offended. I get it. But as an adult, I think it is nuts that you would be more offended by something that somebody said than you are by the idea of being offended. The idea of being offended comes closer to offending me than any singular idea or language or any of that. So, with that in mind, what do you want from others? You have something that sets you off. The same way the retard makes me uncomfortable. You have something that sets you off, that you feel everybody should feel the same way as you. I understand everybody around me uses the word retard. Yeah. All the time, right?
I've definitely said it since you've been here.
Right.
Like, definitely.
And I'm not, I don't say, I have to cast this motherfucker out of my life. You're ignorant. Get out of here. I wouldn't say that. You know why? Because maybe I would devote 10 seconds to saying, hey, I think there's an actually retarded guy over there. Maybe you should be cool. Maybe I'd say that. I might not even. You know what I mean? Because I think really, we've talked about it, the only thing that is offensive, I racked my brain. I sat in a dark room thinking about what offends, all right? I went down the list. Thought about Nazi shit. Thought about fucking weird sex shit. Thought about fucking power between sexes and fucking knife play. And also, I thought of everything that I could think of that would offend anyone for any good reason. And what I came to is two 2-year-olds having sex with a stick of butter. That is offensive. That is fucking awful.
Fucking bad.
It's bad, right? It's the nadir. And I got there through heavy meditation. I thought about it. What could offend? That's what offends. Everything else is fucking bullshit, man. It's just opinion.
Yeah.
And listen, when we go places on tour that don't have quite like the United States First Amendment sort of shit going on.
Yeah, people get weird.
People get weird about language. People ideas are, oh no, you can't think that. Yo, I feel like I'm in a goddamn cage. I feel like I'm in some weird fucking, I'm withering as a person. Because, I'm going to put this on one of our shirts. My only religion is the First Amendment. That's it. I want the right to say whatever the fuck I want to say, and I want to respect the person that says something other counter to that. You know what I mean? Now, we have a band member, right? Well, probably multiple, really, but we have a band member who identifies as homosexual, right? So, he hates when people use that language. You know which language I'm talking about, right? I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get caught out there saying it so somebody can loop this video. I don't want to make that video. But he gets irate and he will bust your teeth down your throat for saying that language. And he and I fight like cats and dogs because I want not to say it. I just want to live in a world where we're not punching each other over a fucking errant word, over a stray comment.
Fucking hitting somebody, much more offensive than anything you can
say.
Oh,
hell yeah.
Very
so, but the reason I bring him into it is because we get it. We're not idiots. Like, there are people that feel strongly about these ideas, and it's, for them, it resonates in a way more severe than the way retard resonates in my ears. You know what I mean?
And what's interesting is we can live in a van with this dude.
Yes!
For weeks at a time. Weeks at a time without any weird conflict. At no point is a protest called. At no point is anyone so... they need to leave the room or something. It's reasonable fucking adults.
Adults, man. Adults.
If we can do this in a van for weeks, you can do it for 3 fucking seconds. Watching a band, or not even watching a band, being in the same room as somebody.
For me, the sort of dividing line is why you find it offensive. Like, if you... Okay, now, a lot of people talk about shit that they don't recognize somebody in the room suffers from that. Like, if I say, well, I hope that you fucking get locked in your own bathroom and burned to death. And then somebody in the corner of the room, I see them rankle because that's how their mom and dad died.
Of course.
You know? I get it. I understand that's... I understand, right? I get it. And if you just have a physical reaction, you're like, ooh, brings it back. I'm sympathetic. You know what I mean? I'm not... But, like, if you're offended to be offended, that's annoying, man.
Yeah.
That's not an adult response to something. And if you are pushing people out of your life because they don't say the right things all the time, not only is that... You're just crazy at that point.
It's a bland life.
It's a bland life. I've gone slide bowling with a neo-Nazi. You know what I mean? Let's say, I didn't know it at the time, but like I saw...
It became apparent pretty quick.
Yeah, it became apparent when I saw his tattoos. Every cab I've ever gotten into in my life, the cab driver has said something racist to me. Every one. Let's see, what other experience? Been vegan for 15 years. It's not like a fucking... It's not like I wave a flag around and all that shit. It's something I actually legitimately care about. I fucking talk to quail farmers like they're just normal people and not fucking sociopaths, which, by the way, they are.
They might be.
You know what I mean? Because you know what goes into quail farming? For anybody that doesn't know what goes into quail farming, you have to separate the male quail before a certain date, because if their mating instinct kicks in, they peck each other to death by the thousands. So they'll just be in a cage, like thousands and thousands of quail. The farmer will wake up the next day and they'll be torn to shreds. There'll just be one quail hopping around. Yo, you're a psycho if you do that shit. I've still talked to that guy. That guy is tantamount to a fucking SS guard to me. And I still talk to that guy. You know why? Because this is the one thing in Christianity that I think is worth fucking people exploring. I will break bread with anyone. I've sat with rapists, I've sat with murderers, I've sat with low down pieces of shit that, like, most people are like, no, I can't be around that. Why? Why can't you be around it? Are you afraid that it'll get in your brain? Are you afraid that that person's crime, that person's violent predilection towards whatever, are you afraid that it crawls in your ear like that Star Trek 2 thing? You know what I mean? It's not like that, man. Like, you can be exposed to things and just treat it like an adult treats it, which is, okay, I was exposed to something, thanks a lot for your time, I'm going to go continue on what I was doing, or you gave me something to think about, maybe. Thought about it, yeah. All right, you know, no, not for me, not joining the SS, not becoming a quail farmer, not what...
That's what we got to talk about. There's a line between enjoying something, or even just listening to it, and advocating for something that's so fucking far off from each other.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about the difference between music and art and literature. Most people will tell you there's no difference, but then they will treat music so differently. Spoiler alert, there is no difference, okay? It's all the same shit. It's all a means of expressing yourself. And just because music has a rhythm that you get involved in, doesn't mean that it... Literature. Have you ever put down a book because you just couldn't relate to the villain? He said something offensive.
Yeah, I don't like this guy.
I don't like this guy. I'm going to stop reading this book, and I'm going to stop reading everything by this author, because this villain in this fucking... I don't get it. Yo, it's a fucking villain.
Yeah, I really hope you find yourself in that position, because that's pathological. That's
right.
Really bad.
And most of you probably saying, no, I wouldn't do that, right? Okay, right. So why do you do it with music? Like, why is the singer of a band any different than the narrator of a story? Yeah, why? Half of these motherfuckers are lying to you about their experience anyway. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? That's all lies and bullshit. So, I don't get it. Like, if a dude explores a topic in a song, how is that different than exploring a topic in a novel? How is it different? Explain it to me. I'm not confident anybody can.
No, there's no way.
So, if somebody, I always use Oliver Twist with the villain. Who's the Fagin? Do you feel the need to relate to everything that Fagin thinks and does, or are you content to say?
Did you become him?
Did you become him? Was it? So, listen. I listen to music that advocates for the destruction of religion. The playlist might then go to a Christian artist, you know what I mean? And I don't get it, I guess. Like, a lot of the music I listen to says I should do drugs. I'm not that motivated to go do drugs. You know what I mean?
That didn't even cross your mind.
No, actually it didn't. So, I guess what I'm saying is, where do you draw the line between these forms of expressing yourself, and why do you feel that music, in particular, is advocacy? Like, why do you think that if you pick up... I don't even know. Pick up, Skullhead. If you pick up a Skullhead record, right? Third Position Politics, which, by the way, is just doublespeak for Nazism that somebody overthought, right? So, you're listening to that Nazi record at that point. Why do you think that shit is going to get in your brain and eat your brain away?
Scramble some shit around.
Yeah, like, hey, I never had any inclination towards these ideas before, but upon listening to this fucking redneck sing about this bullshit, I think I'm going to go fight for the white man's cause.
For the same reason that when you watch Jaws, you don't become a shark hunter.
Yeah, you dumb
motherfucker. The same reason you don't become Pennywise the Clown when you read a fucking Stephen King book.
Right.
You aren't going to become a fucking free-on-huffing weirdo fucking white supremacist.
The only thing... I'm big on this. We talked about how punching somebody's offensive. I'll punch a motherfucker over this. This is something the only thing I'd go to war with. People are always going to war for nations. People are always going to war for religions. Listen, man. The only thing I'm willing to go to war for, and actually mean, because nations and religions are just abstractions anyway. You're just looking for an excuse to kill each other. But the only thing is, the right to expose myself to anything I want to be exposed to as a fucking thinking adult. That's what I want. That's my fucking credo. That's my lifestyle. You know what I mean? What the fuck? Let's fucking go to a rave.